Hey there, another day, another video with the amp. I think it's in its final stage. I have powered it up, the voltages are okay. I decided to make a few minor changes to this amp. One is the dropping resistor. I have put another 1.3K in series, so I have doubled the drop. It was like 10 volts, now it's a bit more. Another thing is grounding. I have grounded this output section to the first filtering section ground point instead of having a separate ground. I have changed this bias resistor to 150 ohms. It was 120, and with 120 it gave me around 15 watts per tube, which is too much. Now I'm getting, I think it's 13 or something. I have also implemented DC supply for preamp and phase inverter tubes. It's 10 millifarads in total, so it gives me a stable 6.5 DC. Other than that, it's really working fine. The pots work as expected. It's very nice. The switch works great. I prefer the bright option. Still, it's what I have always preferred for a Vox. Bright option with a treble boost. And if you put the treble boost first in the chain, you get a nice treble roll-off, and you don't get any shrill highs. So it sounds great. Actually, let me show you how this amp sounds with master on full, preamp on 75%, bright switch, tone fully up. Let's hear it. I think it's a very decent tone. Decent. For a small amp like this. I don't expect to make any changes to this amp. It sounds just like I expected this amp to sound. It's really compact. It's really small. It's not light. It's kind of heavy, you know, it's 10 kilograms almost. But it is very convenient format. I will be posting some more videos with this amp, maybe some tone comparisons, so you can evaluate if this sounds anything like something that you would want to build yourself. I really like the sponginess you get from those small filter caps. If you go to 22 microfarads, you get a very fast amp, you get a very fast attack and tight attack, which is very suitable for modern tones, for modern music. From a listener's perspective, it doesn't change much. From the player's perspective, that's a big deal. If you make this too big, the response of the amp changes. So it's 10 microfarads and it's just enough. Is there anything I would do differently right now? I'm not sure I would go with the DC supply. It doesn't change a lot. In this amp, when connected to a cab, I didn't hear any difference in hum, in hiss, in noise after changing to DC supply for the V1 and V2, like for the preamp and for the phase inverter. So that's, you know, just another thing to put into the space. So it occupies space, it takes your time, and doesn't give you any real benefit in this application. There's one more thing, and I'm not sure if you can see it from here, but since The tubes previously were seated in the PCB. The springs and the tensioner, which goes over the tubes, was designed to fit on the tube that's a bit lower. So now we have no PCB. The sockets are mounted flush with chassis, so the tubes are elevated a bit, which means the tensioner, the springs, no longer can be put over the tube. So I will be replacing the springs to something longer to be able to put those metal parts over the head of the tube. It doesn't make a big difference because anyway it's a head, so the tube will not go up. It's just cosmetics. So for now the springs are pushed sideways. They do not rattle, so that's not a big issue. I think by now you know this amp in and out. I have described every thing that happens here, every component. It's a really nice sounding amp, and I think it's the big part of it is this 350 volts that I'm getting. So that's a big swing going to the tubes, which makes them work hard, but also makes them sound great. Before we take off, let me share another clip with this amp boosted by the clone Centaur and boosted a little bit with the King of Tone, so you can see how this amp sounds in, let's call it a high gain situation where you have a lot of gain going on. Take care and see you at the next project. Bye bye.